All right, today we're going to look at SD48.1 again. It is the chapter 1 on karma in the afterlife. And we're going to look at the significance of death, what it means for us as Buddhists or as even non-Buddhists, because death is something universal. Death comes to everyone, everything. In fact, death means there is life. Okay, so this is what makes Buddhism different from other religions, because we value life. Why is life so precious to us? Because there is death. Whenever someone dies, we always ask why. Why must this person die? Okay, why do we lose something so important to us? So this comes to a second point. Death also shows that there are certain people we value more. Certain things we value more. There are certain things in our life you can't measure, right? So we often measure things, right? I mean, nowadays in our modern times, you find people say that from the time you are born, you can be measured. You're worth how much? Like you go to work, the boss looks at you and wonders how much you are worth and pay you accordingly, right? So in the so-called normal world, we are measured, so much worth. We are worth so much. Wherever we go, we have to pay something, a certain amount is worth. But I'm talking about what's called early Buddhism. That's the Buddhism of the Buddha's time, not the modern religion. Because there are a lot of changes in modern times. Even in modern time, religion also measure things and so on. But here we're talking about the most important things in our life cannot be measured. For example, life. See, now when someone dies, we say, wow, life is so precious to us. That's why we don't like death. We feel sad about it, because you cannot measure life, all right? How do you measure life, There are many things, important things in life we cannot measure. In fact, the most important things in our life we cannot measure. Yeah, you can measure food, you can measure the cost of a house, you can measure the cost of a car, the cost of a job, yes, but you cannot measure the most important things in your life. For example, love. How do you measure? You can't measure how much love. There's no unit for measuring love. There's no way of measuring happiness. There's no way of measuring sadness also. So there's no way of measuring life, because it is something very precious to us, something immeasurable. Okay? So always remember this idea of something immeasurable, because when we treat the living with love, we cannot measure that love. I mean, if you really love the person, there's no way of measuring it. So we call this boundless love. And this is a very important aspect when it comes to death, when we talk about so-called Buddhist prayers, if you like. So when we pray for the dead, we have to have this certain attitude in our minds where we think of something good and happy about this person. We picture this person in a happy situation, and we feel good and happy inside. And then we send out these thoughts to this person who has passed on, this person who has passed away. Okay, that's the basic idea. I start this by telling you this because this is most important idea in Buddhist prayer, that when you pray, you have happiness, joy, goodness inside you. Because if you ask someone else to pray for someone you love who has died, and you just watch without any feeling, that's not very helpful. I mean, imagine, let's say it's your birthday, and then someone else, it could be your husband or wife or anyone, your parent, invite someone, to entertain you, but your family, your loved one don't do anything to you. They're not even smiling, you're not happy with you. You won't enjoy that birthday. So imagine this person who has died. Okay, now we come to another level, okay? One way of talking about someone who has died is that the consciousness has left the body. It's like in a dream, to put very simply. So this consciousness is still aware of what's going on out there, but because the body is not functioning anymore, so this consciousness is not able to interact with the world. Right? The dead cannot talk to us. All right? I mean, in reality, according to Buddhism. So imagine this person who has passed away, you're like in a dream, so they don't really have a control over themselves. It's just this thought. All right. So, and they're able to see. Okay, they have an idea. Okay, you are present. There you are praying for them, and then you have invited some other people to pray for them, but you don't do anything. So they will feel very strange. You say, "Oh, look, my children don't love me. They don't do anything." So the Buddhist way of praying is we think of this person who has passed away. We think of all the happy things the person has done, the good things the person has done, our happiness with this person. You must remember that. It's very important. The bad things are not important. The good things are very important because it makes you happy. This happiness as a kind of energy, it gives you strength. That's called love, okay? Then you think these thoughts in your mind or in your heart, and then you speak to this dead person, so to speak. Okay, basically you are telling this person, "Well, we still love you. We still think of you. We now think happily of you, although you are not here. We want you to be well and happy. We wish you well and happy." All right? So this idea of "may you be well and happy" is very important in Buddhism. It's a kind of meditation. All right? We say it to the living. We say it to animals, we say it to other beings. When we buy a new house, we say these things. It's called loving kindness. We say it to the dead also. So this is how we pray for someone who has passed away, our loved ones. Even our enemies, we still say, "May you be well and happy." Our enemies have died, but there is rebirth. Okay, we'll come to that in a moment, right, on the diagram. Okay, so our loved one has passed away, right? What does this mean? Now, one way of looking at nature of life and death is that early Buddhism, that is the Buddhism of the Buddha's time when he was teaching in India, we can say actually there is no such thing as death. Only from our side, when we see this loved one we know very well, is no more functioning, the body doesn't move, and we can't see this person anymore. The body has ceased to function, all right? But there is something else, the mind, okay? So this is where we come to a very important aspect of early Buddhism of the Buddha. We have to ask ourselves now, okay? What are we? We don't ask who dies. Because if you say who dies, then you'll be very sad. You are attached to someone. You must ask the right question. The right question to ask here is, what is it that dies? What has passed away here? The what, okay? What here, what are we, basically? One of the things that Buddhists often do when someone they know passed away, they will, as soon as they hear someone has passed away, they will go to this person. They don't wait until the body is nicely made up and for the wake. They at once go to the house. They want to see the body. It's like your very nice friend. You want to see him. You want to say goodbye to him because he has passed away. You don't want to wait. So you go straight away and you go to him, you look at him, okay? You say, "Wow, this is my friend. He was alive just moments ago. We used to do this, we're so happy doing that, but now this person is no more with us." So we do a kind of meditation, a kind of reflection. Anyone can do this, okay? You look at this body, which is not alive anymore. He was your friend. You say, as he is, or rather, as he was, so I am. As he is, so I will be. All right? Can you remember that? As he is, as he is now, so I will be. Is it? in the future. Okay, I'll be like this body one day. So, in other words, you see this body, you say, he was my friend once, but now he's no more alive. So what am I doing with my life? Okay, I should treasure my life. I'm still alive, right? So my friend's death is a reminder to me. What am I doing with my life? Am I really happy? And also to remember all the good things that this person has done. We cannot control death, right? I mean, if we can control death, we have another big problem, you see. Life becomes almost of no value. Imagine if you don't die, you get knocked out by a car, so you won't die. It's meaningless also. All right? I mean, you live for endless life. As some people say, eternal life, it doesn't make sense. Because we exist in time, we all have a shelf life. We must die. And that's what makes life valuable also. Without measure, we cannot measure this life. Right? All right, so we ask ourselves the same question, what is life, or what are we? Now, there are two parts to this question. We begin with a simple question. What can I know? Okay, I know I have a body, right? I know I have a body. We all cannot deny that. No matter what religion you follow or don't follow any religion, you're a scientist or whatever, ask this question. What am I? Number one, we know I have a body. Okay. The next thing is, how do I know I have a body? It's because of my mind, you see. Because my mind can think, say, I have a body, right? So we have mind, we have body. Two things, no? Now, the difference is this. In Buddhism, we say, okay, the body is impermanent. The body has to change because the body is made up of parts, conditioned. The mind also is conditioned, but the mind is not physical. So the mind goes on and on and on. Even after death, also the mind continues. We call the mind consciousness, right? Some religion, some cultures give all kind of names to this mind, which has no body, the mind after someone dies. No? They call this mind soul and all kind of linghun and so on, all kinds of names. No? It doesn't matter what name you call it. Important is just mind, okay? And what is mind? Mind also changing. Mind is changing all the time. The body also is changing all the time. And this is something very important you must remember as a Buddhist. Both body and mind must change. Death is the final proof of change. If you want to know what all of Buddhism teach you, there's only one word: change. Everything changes. Impermanent. Right? That's why there is death. Because of this cycle of life and death. Where there is birth, there must be death. But the difference is the Asian religions, Buddhism, Hinduism and some other religions in Asia teach us death is not the end of life. We are reborn. We are reborn as human beings again, or we could be reborn as animals, or we could be reborn as other beings. Rebirth is possible, okay? But let's not go there yet, okay? Let's talk about ourselves first, because we want to know, why does death happen? Now, let's go back to the question. We have a body, right? I'm sure no one here will disagree. We have a body, all right? Now, the next question you must ask is, what is this body? Okay? Now, there are at least two ways of looking at your body, all right? One is, this one is taught to us 2,500 years ago. The Buddha talks about 4 elements: earth, water, fire, wind, all right? There was no science in the Buddha's time, but the Buddha said our body is made out of 4 elements: earth, water, fire, wind. And that's very scientific by standards of 2,500 years ago. In fact, today the scientists still say the same thing, but they use different words. Earth is solidity, right? This is earth. Actually, it's earth element, not just earth. Earth is only one word, the ground. But here, earth means solidity or resistance, right? Number 2, water is liquid. Yes, we normally think of water as H2O, but water is simply liquid. Most of your body is water, fluid, liquid. All right. Number 2, that's saliva. That's what our body is. Number 3, fire. The Buddha said your body is made of fire. Fire is heat. Okay. Now, again, heat is not just heat. What does heat do? Heat burns. It burns. What does burning do? In science, it's called oxidation. Burning means oxygen is acting on it. So, we also can call this heat decay. From the moment we are born, we decay. Our body is changing. Of course, from the day we are born, we are decaying, but we say, we give very nice things. We say childhood, girlhood, boyhood, adolescence, manhood. After that, it's old age already. Now we know already we're decaying. But actually, the decay starts on the day we are born. The whole process, we are decaying, okay, until we pass away. So fire is decay, okay? Fire also, of course, heat. You touch your body, you can feel the heat. This fire is your metabolism. When you take food, there is digestion. All these come under the category of fire. Okay, so that's what we are. And then the last one is the wind. The wind is the air we breathe in, the air we breathe out. It is also movement. Anything that has to do with movement in our body. So you have earth, water, fire, wind. Okay, so there are a lot of things you can read about this anyway. Still not, you're wondering, wow, this is interesting. You can ask me, I can give you some notes to read. So we are made of these 4 elements. Now, so what's so important about understanding this? Now, if you look at the 4 elements, they are never stable. Okay, I mean, you may think they appear to be stable. Look at this table, okay? This table is earth, right? Mostly. Actually, it's not just earth. Everything is made up of 4 elements. This earth has got earth, water. This table has got earth, water, fire, wind inside it also. But it's mostly solid. All right, there's a bit of liquid in it, a bit of heat in it, because when you burn it, you can burn it, you see? Right? So there's fire in here. So, in other words, we're talking about like the atom, So in the atom, you find there is the matter aspect of the atom, and then there is the heat aspect of the atom, there is the movement in the atom, and so on, right? So the water is more liquid than any of the other 3 elements, and so on. So all these 4 elements are unstable. They're all the time changing and moving, especially when you're alive. You see, when we are made out of the 4 elements, our 4 elements are all the time in a flux. In fact, this idea became very important. It became the basis of traditional medicine. The 4 elements must be balanced. In Chinese medicine, in Indian medicine, same. But in Buddhist teaching, we say we are made up of the 4 elements. Our body is earth element, our bones, skin, teeth, hair, all these are earth element. And then water element, our saliva, our blood, most of our body is water element. And then the fire, of course, is body heat, our digestion, and so on. And then the last one is wind. Wind is the air we breathe in, air we breathe out. The muscular movement of when we take food, the food goes down, peristalsis, all right? So these 4 elements are very unstable, all right? So when sometimes this instability is so strong, it affects our body. One of our organs ceases to function, we die, right? So this is one of the causes of death. The 4 elements become very unstable. Now, another way of looking at what we are as the body is we can see ourselves as the 5 senses. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body. These are our 5 senses. No? Notice body is there also. So this is our physical being. Okay. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body. This is our world. Whatever we see, all that we can know, all that we are made up of these 5 senses. What we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, what we touch. These are the 5 kinds of knowledge we can have. Nothing beyond this. If you think just for a moment, what can we know? We can only know about these 5 things. Whatever we know will come under the category of what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, or what we feel or touch. Then we come to number 6. In Buddhism, we also talk about 6 senses. The 6th sense is the mind. Okay? Now, the mind also is changing all the time. The mind has to change, because if the mind doesn't change, it cannot know things. We know things because everything is changing. Change gives meaning to our life. For example, take language. Okay, when I'm talking, my words are changing all the time. My sounds change, and then I also talk high, low, right? So you can hear this and you understand what I'm saying. So change gives us meaning. And the greatest change is death. When someone dies, it gives meaning to life. We begin to understand how important life is when someone dies. So remember, one way of looking at the death of someone dear to us is to teach us that our life is very precious. Now, some religion will tell you, oh, my teacher lived forever. But it doesn't make sense. It's very difficult to imagine someone living forever. Whereas the Buddha, like anyone else, also died. Now, because the Buddha died, it proves his teaching is true, because he says everything is impermanent. So even the Buddha must die. We all will pass away, but we will come back. We will return. There is rebirth, right? So you can see the cycle behind me, right? You have life, death, rebirth. So when we talk about life, or when we talk about death, actually, we're not really talking about someone having passed away. We're actually talking about life itself. If you live your life well, then you don't worry about death, because this body cannot sustain itself for a very long time. Our human lifespan may be 100 years. Some monks in the Buddha's time are known to live to 160 years. Now, if you can live that long, you better have a strong mind. Because if you grow old, sometimes people say, may you live long. I said, I think that's not enough. You should not say, may you live long. May you live long and happily. May you live long and sanely. S-A-N-E, sane. I mean, if you have, mental problem, or you have dementia, there's no point in living up to 160 years. You must have a clear mind. So the mind is very important in Buddhism, because if you don't have a good mind, then even your life is not very precious. When you have a good mind, you understand what is life, then you understand what is death also. Okay? So now you can see here some ideas how in Buddhism we talk about life. Life is made out of body and mind, and they are unstable, impermanent, so death has to come. Okay? And I mentioned just now that there's really no such thing as death, because the body ceases to function, but the mind moves on to a new life. Okay? So this is where, as I said, you have this very basic consciousness of this person. It's like a dream. This person moves around. He can't communicate really. You can dream, yes, but the person really has no means of communicating to you. So this person can see what's going on, how you conduct yourself, how you pray for this person, what you think of this person. So the best way for us now to deal with this relative, this loved one who has passed away, is to think happily, with love. Right? Imagine if you're the one and you look at your relatives are still alive, you see them thinking of you happily, remembering you happily, you will be happy too. Right? It's like someone, it's like your birthday. You find everybody is there, present, smiling, and wishing you happy birthday. You feel happy because you know they really care for you. So when this person has passed away, that's the same way we should treat the person who has passed away. And then we, in our mind, we say, wherever you are, may you be well and happy. May you be at peace with yourself. Okay? Now we say this because we do not know where this person is reborn. According to Buddhism, the person can be reborn as other human beings elsewhere. If the person is reborn as a baby elsewhere, even what you pray now wouldn't be helpful anyway. The person is reborn elsewhere. If the person is reborn in say as a heavenly being, then the person is very happy. He doesn't need your prayers either. If the person is reborn in a suffering state, and in Buddhism we say sometimes human beings can be reborn even as animals and other beings, then they may or may not come back to you. But I have 2 cats at home who are very nice to me. I don't know, they could be my past relatives. Right? So now this idea of rebirth reminds us that we should treat all beings kindly. The Buddha says that we have been reborn so many times that all of us are somehow related to each other. The Buddha says we have been reborn so many times that it is impossible to find someone who has not been your mother before. We have been reborn so many times, billions and billions, countless of times. It's impossible to find someone who has not been your father before, your brother, your sister, your uncle, your aunt, and so on. We all are somehow related in that sense. Right? So all these teachings show that death is not the end. Okay? It's a new beginning. I mean, you look at plants. You got seeds, right? You grow, and then the plant grows, and then there are the plant flowers, there are seeds, the plant dies. But the seed continues more plants. So this seed is like our consciousness. We may die, but this consciousness continues in the future life. It's reborn somewhere else. We pray because there is one condition, there is one state where the dying person may be at a loss. Like someone who has been with us, he's going to go away, but he has difficulty going away. He just loves us so much, doesn't know how to go away. So this person is still stuck halfway, like as if halfway, okay? Intermediate being, right? Now, if this consciousness, this departed one, is stuck like that, then they'll always be like, they're attached to us, attached to you, attached to their current place. They're going to suffer because, they can't really enjoy anything. They are like in a dream, So that's when you can only send your thoughts to them. You say, okay, now be strong, be happy. You got to let go of this situation. Don't get attached to this world. Then they feel happy. How do they let go of their attachment to this present life? By being happy. Once they're happy, they are willing to live. They are willing to go away. Just like our visitors, they go away happily. Okay? Then they are reborn in a happy state. So I've given you a very simple idea here on the nature of life, nature of death, and some simple ideas how we should treat someone, a loved one especially, who has passed away. Now, since this is quite a difficult topic, very personal topic, I will stop here for a while. I'll let you ask some questions, so easier for me to focus on what you need to know, and maybe also to help you be happy and help this person who has passed away to be happy also. Okay? So anyone like to start?
You mentioned about when you die, you're reborn. So, is it happens to everybody, or some beings don't reborn at all?
All beings, We are all reborn, okay? Because we have karma. The karma are our actions, okay? The actions that we do, good and bad, and that will, like when we do something, there are results to our action, and the action brings some more results like that. Action, result, action, result. That's called karma, okay? What's the Chinese word for karma? Okay. Yeah. So, all right, karma. Okay. So that keeps us going. Okay, and karma also keeps us into the next life. Let me give you an example here about being reborn. Let's say there's someone here who only thinks of killing people, stealing, raping. He only comes out at night, he sleeps in the day. He's a predator. In other words, he's like an animal. Although he has a body of a human being, his mind is not human. Remember, you can have a body of a human, but your mind is not human. Okay? So when he dies, what kind of mind is that? The human body dies, but the mind doesn't like bright places. The mind will look for dark places. And the mind doesn't like human beings because it sees human beings only as victims, like an animal, like a tiger or lion. So he will look for tigers and lions, and he reborns a tiger or a lion because that's the way he thinks, you see. So it's very careful how we think. All right? So that's karma, all right? Only one kind of person are not reborn. They are called the arahats. In other words, they're normal karma. They're totally good. Their mind is pure, normal rebirth. Okay, only that kind. But all of us are reborn somehow. Okay. Of course, the Buddha is an arahat. So the Buddha also not reborn. Okay, that means no more suffering. But other beings are all reborn. Okay. Yes?
From death, is it immediately reborn or 7 days?
Okay. If your mind is very calm and you understand the nature of your mind, you know how to meditate, you understand how your mind works, you're not afraid of all these things, you're very peaceful, you're trained, okay? Then the rebirth will be immediate. Straight away. For example, I say goodbye, I leave, you see. I don't come back, because I'm so attached to you, see. So straight away go. The rebirth is immediate. Those are the really good people, the saints we call them. No? But for most of us, because we have a lot of attachment, we take a lot of time, very hard to say goodbye, you know. So although the body is not functioning, our mind is still stuck. Now, to be quite frank, we don't really know exactly how long it will take. If you study all the ancient books, yes, they tell you 7 days, and then 7 times 7, and then some of them say even longer. So there is no agreement exactly how long. See, the problem with the priests is that they need to fix the time, you see. So they say, okay, 7 times 7, because 7 is a magical number. See? In many of the ancient cultures, 7, we got 7 days a week and so on, right? 7 jewels. So also, when you talk of 7 times 7, it helps you to do all these rituals, prayers. See? That's the main thing. So in a sense, it's useful because it helps you to, as a family, to remember the dead. Okay, so it's just a social custom. We don't really know exactly how many days. But the moment you know a person is dying, remember what I told you just now. The most important thing is to think happy thoughts about this person, because your thoughts can reach this person somehow. For example, you look at me, you say, oh yeah, this person, I like this person because I can feel like he's nice. I don't like this person, I don't feel nice, right? The kind of feeling. So animals can sense this very well, So when you send out these thoughts, it somehow can reach this dying person. Because they are normal of this kind of, like us, you see. So they're more sensitive to all these kinds of emotions and prayers. Okay? So this timing again, it doesn't really matter. But important thing is, for example, it's good to remember them on their birthday, once a year, even if you don't remember the death date. Because there's so many of our other ancestors, like our family in Malacca left China like 7 generations ago. Right? We can go to the hill and see my first great-great-great-great-grandfather, I don't know how many greats, So I've not even met them, so how to pray for them? So we send this loving kindness. Let's say it's their birthday, or maybe you forget the day and then you remember that day also can. Then you sit quietly, you say, okay, you mention a name, you picture this person happy, very important, happy, and you say all these nice things as if the person can hear you. Okay, because the thoughts will reach out to this person. If I have passed away, I can sense what you are saying. Okay? So, this is, in other words, we can pray for the dead anytime we want. Number 2, we don't just pray for relatives. Because remember, everyone is connected. So you pray for your friends, for anyone you know. Because we will meet again in a future life. So we want to meet again happily together. Alright? So if you are not able... Remember, this 7 times 7, this is just a custom, cultural tradition. If you can't follow it, it's okay, but choose a convenient day for all of you or for you anytime. Some people, before they go to bed, they just send thoughts to their loved ones. It's up to you. But make sure there is this happy thought towards them. That's more important. It's the thought that counts. I mean, okay, I ask you a simple question. Let's say, okay, you remember all these rituals, social rituals, cultural rituals, 7 times 7, you do this, all very nice, you pay all these expensive things, but your heart doesn't feel anything. Right? You just want to show people, oh, I'm doing all these right things, You show people, but in your heart, there's nothing. The other person, he does it, he sends all these kind thoughts to this person who has passed away. Then he says, oh, I want to remember my father, my mother, by doing some kind work. Let's say they build a school, right? Or they go and help old people. And they say, I'm doing this for my loved ones. Wow, that's wonderful. So you have a choice, you see. You want to follow all these customs, which are just to show people, oh, I'm the good guy. You are using... the person has passed away. In fact, you don't respect the dead in this way. We respect the dead by remembering the good they have done and by doing good in their name. That's the best way to remember them. You want to choose 7 days, also can, right? But remember this, the attitude towards them is very important. You must have loving kindness inside you. Don't be empty inside you. You get other people to pray for you, but you don't pray. I mean, imagine if you are the one, you say, oh yeah, look at this, my son, my daughter doesn't think of me, he got someone else to do and everything. But if you do it yourself, wow, your mother, your father will be very happy. But you can sense this person really loves me. So this is the Buddhist idea of real prayer. You pray with your heart. And you don't just sit down and pray. You also do things. You say, oh no, I'm going to do good because of my father, my mother. Right? So this is the real meaning. When you say family honor, this is the real meaning. You do good because you want your family to be happy, your departed ones to be happy, in that sense. Okay?
How much merit they can receive? Let's say we do good.
Okay. Remember I told you there are some things immeasurable, right? Right? So remember, I know, Singapore, everything can be measured, even China now, everything can be measured also. Yeah, certain things can be measured, yes, but love cannot be measured. One good thing you do, let's say, a student has no money and then someone say, okay, I'll give you a bit of money, you study, and then he goes to school, he passes exam, wow, he becomes a doctor or maybe the future leader. How do you measure? Or maybe he is lazy, so no result. So it's not your fault, you see. Important thing, you cannot measure. So when we pray, same thing, you cannot measure it. Immeasurable, that means it's much, much more than what you think you have given. It's very much more. But it's just a word more. If I'm kind to you, how to measure that kindness? Right? So there are some things in our life which cannot be measured. A lot of things can be measured, yes. The moment you walk out of this room, everything starts measuring already. You take a taxi, you got to pay so much, right? But not when you have your heart and you're doing this action, this love for your departed ones. So there are two things, remember, measure and immeasurable. Meditation also immeasurable. How do you measure your breath? You cannot measure because it's precious. Life is precious. Anything? You can still ask some more questions. Anything not sure? It's time to ask.
I want to ask about the intermediate state. When the person passes away, is it the intermediate state until he seek another rebirth, or is it something else?
The intermediate state means this person is still caught up with the attachment to the previous life. So he still cannot let go. So according to the early Buddhism is that he's not reborn to any of the states yet. So it's just a kind of in-between state.
So it's not sure.
It's a kind of dreamlike state, if you like, where this person is... it's a suffering state, actually. Yeah, so it's not a happy state at all. Imagine you're caught up with like a no man's land, So you are lost in a foreign country. Right? So that's the intermediate state.
Will he know that he has already died?
No, I don't think he knows all these things. It's unlikely. Unless that's why the training is very important, you see. If you are drunk, imagine if you are drunk, you may know what you're doing, but yet you are pushed by impulse to do certain things. You have no control, right? So the intermediate state also like that. They have no control really. There's always fear, a lot of fear, a lot of desire about the past. So they're only caught up with what they remember of the past.
Just like in a dream state, we cannot have control over it.
Yes, something like a dream state. They're caught up by their past emotions. They are mostly negative emotions. Okay, and a lot of fear. Okay?
I got a question.
Yeah, sure.
They say the people pass away,
Mm-hmm.
so the consciousness still there. So when they reborn, would they remember last life?
It's possible. Some children, interestingly, some people have done, scholars done research. Children up to 7 years old, some of them can remember. After that, they start forgetting already. Maybe children up to 7 years old, their mind is more open. Right? So, and they can tell you, they go to a certain village and say, I buried something here, and then they dig. You say, yeah, they found it. And they go to the family, they say, they see the old woman say, this was my wife, and so on. So they're surprised. They will describe all these things. There are books about all this. But once they are beyond 7 years old, they can't remember already. So yes, I would say there are some proof that rebirth can be remembered. But once a person is dead, the consciousness would go away. The problem, you don't know exactly when, you see. But generally, if the normal person, the body is cold, no heartbeat, no brain activity, we know the person is dead. But most culture, to be safe, they'll keep the body for 7 days, for example. So they want to be sure the person is dead. And there is a funny story here, a real story I read in the newspaper when I was very young. This person is in Italy. The person died, so they put in the coffin. Italians, they're very emotional, they cry. Around the coffin, they say, why do you die? Why did you come back? And then suddenly there was a noise in the coffin, The person didn't die. He didn't die. He actually, something happened like that, he actually came back. But the people were shocked, They open up and they look at him, and he looked at them, he said, what's happening to me? Why am I in a coffin? He got a heart attack, and then he died. Second time, this time he really died. See? So you have stories like that. So they want to be sure the person is dead, you see? All right? So we don't really know. But technically, no heartbeat, no mind activity, no breath, and then the body is very cold. You know the person's already dead now. Any other question? Whatever. Yeah?
In this case, what about organ transplant then? If the person is not dead, then you go and operate the person and then take out all the heart.
Whether the person will be dead once you take out the heart at that time. This is the borderline of human knowledge already. Okay? Because these are things that we won't know anyway. Right? So, but basically, we've got to rely on medical knowledge. No heart rate, no brain activity, no breath, and the body is cold. Okay? In Buddhism, we say the consciousness, body heat, and what they call that, the life, the three things, life force, three things must be there. Yeah, so we many of these things we don't know, Of course, but those who do deep meditation probably they might tell you. But again, we don't know. Okay. Any other questions? Yes.
Would you say the human body, like out of, let's say, all the Buddhism jobs, human body is like the best tool for liberation? Like, because how I'm thinking, this consciousness is going around all this world, and the human body seems to be like the most stable form that we can anchor to, where we can have like these concepts of breathing and certain thoughts that we can organize, describe.
Yes, that's a very interesting idea when you talk about breath. Huh? I mean, I don't know. I don't think the gods need to breathe anyway, the way we breathe, right? So we have breath, so we can do breath meditation. Right? And the Buddhas always use breath meditation to awaken. From the Buddhist teachings, the human birth is said to be the best birth in terms of spiritual development. It's because of our mind. Our minds experience both happiness and suffering. Right? Below us, animals, the ghosts, and all this, what they call the pretas, they're all suffering. So it's very difficult for them to meditate even, right? The gods, it's like having a long holiday, enjoying life, very happy, so they don't feel like meditating anyway. So human beings are in between, and we are in the best position because we see both suffering and happiness, and we can decide for ourselves. And yes, breath helps. We can use breath meditation to calm ourselves, and we can attain those higher levels by calming our mind. So for that reason, being human is the best way to train ourselves spiritually. You can say that, yeah. Okay? Yes?
I have a question. I'm just wondering, who is the one to judge you? You have good karma and bad karma. Who is the judger?
No, there's no judge. It's just like if I drop a ball, the ball goes down and bounces up, right? Is there a god of bouncing balls? Is there a god that says, oh, ball, okay, and one day say, no, the ball won't jump. These are natural laws. But you see, karma is very tricky, It's not like, we have this idea of karma means I do one good, I get one good. It's not like that. You do one good, you can get, countless good. For example, in Holland, you have these dikes, the walls that keeps the seawater out. One day this boy saw there's a little hole there, and water is coming out, and there's nobody around, but this boy was very thoughtful, he said, wow, if water comes through, a lot of people will drown. So he put his finger inside, so water won't come out. He stayed all night, very cold, And then next day they found him, then he became a hero. Now the question is this, what is the karma of this boy? Now he saved so many lives, So you can't really measure, see? All right? Now, who is the judge? Very interesting question. Maybe again we have to rephrase that, because in Buddhism we must ask the correct question. Because you say who, that means you're talking about name of a person, We must say what. What judges our karma? One answer is our mind judges the karma. That's one way of looking at it. Right? Meaning, now there is a saying in the Buddhist holy books, whatever bad deeds you do, the Buddhas will know, the Devas also will know. And you will know. Is it? The most important person is you will know. So karma also is like that. You do something good for someone else, you feel good inside you. Now if you keep feeling like that, you feel happy. Now if you feel happy, you are less likely to do bad things. All those people who do bad things, they're not happy. All those lawyers in Singapore, in many cases, they run away, they go, 10 million, they say, this is fine, I can retire. They run away to Thailand or some country, but you cannot really be happy. You have to live in hiding, you see. You're not really human anymore. 10 million doesn't last very long anyway, But, I used to talk teach Buddhism at the university. I always tell the student, I say, if you don't remember all I teach here, it's okay. But one thing you must remember, you are going to be very successful people in the future, but there are things you're going to see out there. Remember the Buddha's teaching. They don't belong to you. It is not yours. It is not yours. Don't take it. Nothing in this world belongs to us. Then you'll be successful. But this lawyer, forget. You see, this lawyer took 10 million and ran away to Thailand until he can live happily. And then he lost his happiness. Now, on the happy side, if you are really happy, then you say, I don't need this money. I have one of my students, very good student, he's a manager. One day he came to me and asked, I'm getting a promotion, Do you think I should take the promotion? Right? Now, it's a very difficult question to answer, because if I run a temple, I say, get promotion, you donate more, you see. And then one day he has problems, he blame me, you see. So we can't give that kind of advice, right? So I told him, I said, you go back home, take a piece of paper, draw a line in the middle. On one side, you say, okay, all the things I will lose if I take the promotion. All right? I get promotion, but these are the things I will lose. On the right side, things you will gain. All right? You write down and then look for yourself. And he came back next week. I more or less know what he's going to say. Right? He told me, I decided not to take the promotion. I said, why? He said, well, you see, number one, I have enough money now. My wife is pregnant. I'm going to have a child. If I accept this promotion, I have less time. So the question is, how do you measure time, you see? So even you have a lot of money, but you have no time to spend it. Then what's the point, I mean, okay, in one life, say you live for 100 years or 80 years, 100 years, how much money do you need for that life? Some of these people got millions and you can't spend all that money, and after the person dies, who takes the money? Right? So we're talking about quality of life. So the idea is to live happily and understand the nature of life, have good friends, help people, and you feel happy inside you, then you won't do bad things. Okay? Questions? Still can ask a bit more.
So how do we prepare ourselves for good rebirth?
Okay. Live your life well. Okay, how do you prepare for death? It's to live your life well. Okay. To live life well means it doesn't mean to. There is a poem, called Omar Khayyam. Since life is short, the poem says, it translated to English, but it became a different poem. Today we live, tomorrow we die. So enjoy life. So do whatever you can to enjoy life. But that is called a materialist way of life. But the Buddha says, life is so short, so don't waste time and make sure you do all the good you can now. Don't wait. Don't wait.
we still have next life, rebirth.
Next life you're born as a cockroach, or you can't meditate, isn't it? Right? Even if you are a cat, my cat is wonderful. He sits right beside me when I do my translation work, but I don't understand what I'm doing. You see? So this human life, this present human life, is the most wonderful thing you have. That is what the Buddha is telling us now. Okay? Okay, I think we're coming near the end, so let me just explain how we should pray for your mother. No? So remember, when you're praying, you picture this person, okay, your mother-in-law, this person that you know, as someone happy, all the happy days, all the good things. This person, no such thing as death. The person is somewhere else, reborn somewhere. We don't know where. It doesn't matter. So the person could be watching you now and wondering, what are you doing? Do you remember me? Right? So the picture is person happy. I will say some words to help you, but you keep on saying this happy thing. Say, wherever you are, mother, or however you call her, I want you to be happy, to be at peace with yourself. May you be well, may you be happy. All right? You have done a lot of good things for us, things like that. You say all this happy thing, you are happy, she is happy, or whoever she is now. Okay? And then say words like, may you be well and happy, may you be at peace with yourself. Just choose words you're comfortable with. You can do this anytime you like. As long as you like, you can do it for other people also. Okay, but because this person is special, we do today for him. Yeah? Any questions before we close with that prayer? Anything to ask? This one's very easy. Just remember how we do it. You go back, you can do it by yourself also. Okay? So no more questions, huh? I'll just write this very short, simple prayer for you. Sit peacefully now, just calm our minds. And remember that we have made a lot of effort to come here to find out more about life because we have lost someone very dear, very precious to us, our mother, a relative, someone we know very well. So this person who has passed away is teaching us something very valuable, that life is very precious, that there are people in our life we cannot really measure. The value of that person cannot be measured, just as love cannot be measured. And the message that our late mother, the late Madam Panyan is teaching us is to treasure the living. In her memory, we should show kindness and goodness to our loved ones, to our husband, our relatives who are still alive, to others even. Whenever we do something good, we remember. We say, I'm doing this for my late mother or late relative. So you have made this special person a very important motivating factor in your life, that you become a better person. Both sides win. Happy for your mother, happy for you too. And this is one of the best ways you can honor her. We have sacrificed some time today to come here to find out the truth about life and death, to find out wisdom about life. There is so much more to learn about how to be truly happy. And this is a lesson which is so wonderful to us, to become a better person because of someone we love. When we reflect in this way, we feel good. We feel a sense of peace inside us. And we dedicate this peace. We remember our loved one with this goodness and peace. So we are gathered today to remember the late Madam Pan Yen wherever she is reborn. May she be well and happy. If she is reborn in any suffering states, may our good thoughts reach her. May she quickly get out of those suffering states. If she is born in any higher states of being with great happiness, may she bless her family and children. Be kind to us from wherever she is. And wherever she is born, may she be well, may she be happy, may she find true happiness and wisdom. So we who are still living here should remember her with our good actions. This is the best way to return her kindness to us, for giving us human birth, for giving us human love. These are very precious gifts which cannot be measured. And now we continue to live this love she has given us by showing this example to others too. So spend a quiet moment to send your kind thoughts of love to the late Madam Pan Yen. And now to close this ceremony, we recite those words on the board, which is just a way of saying we dedicate this special prayer for her. You can recite together with me. Idam me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idam me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idam nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.